Hello, my name is Nathan Allen Pinard, and I am the composer and arranger and orchestrator and marketer and website the list goes on, of Immortal Aria. Anyway, Immortal Aria, for those that do not know, is a songwriting group, a mother-son songwriting group set in the Pacific Northwest that seeks to create a musical narrative experience. So most of our songs actually tell a story, have a theme to it. Not to say that this is unique, but I like to apply sort of a film score, orchestral sense to it. And that, that's my background. I've done films, not big films, but I've done independent films, and I've done indie video games, and that influence tends to go in these songs. And my mom writes these sort of Broadway-ish songs in terms of how she writes lyrics. Some of them are very poetic, and the result is Immortal Aria. Never thought I would get 1,000 likes. Yeah, it's 1,000 likes is definitely a big accomplishment, and I thank you all from the first like in helping us get to this point. Alright, so as far as musical plans go, I got the first one, which we want to cover a actual Phantom of the Opera song from Andrew Lloyd Webber's Phantom of the Opera, and that song would be the Phantom of the Opera title theme, a theme that I feel could use an update in terms of just the way it's orchestrated. And we'll be actually we're going to be possibly holding auditions in how we determine who sings the vocals. We're not sure yet, but that'll be a formal announcement in the future, and we'll hope to get some good vocalists for that song. I don't really have a way to explain how I'm going to do it, but it's definitely a little more cinematic, a little more film score, less of the Broadway feeling, but still maintains that theme. Alright, so I got questions. What is your favorite thing about doing what you do? Well, I like hearing the end product. It's kind of interesting to hear the result of your, dramatically blood, sweat, and tears in terms of writing music, because it's a heavy process in some cases. You can write music in 2 hours, or you can write music in 2 years. It's just how it goes. So hearing that end result is actually my favorite part. It can give you chills down your spine, especially if it is a live orchestra. And I did have that feeling when working on Jennifer Thomas's Alleluia, and I went up to the concert in Seattle, and I heard an orchestra play that song, which I helped orchestrate. And it was a surreal feeling, sitting in an audience, hearing something, and then saying, wow, this sounds pretty, oh wait, yeah, I worked on this. Wow. So, that happens. You kind of have a suspension of disbelief sometimes. What do you find most challenging? I would say mixing genres together is one of the more challenging aspects, especially when you add vocals to it, because the vocals are the main event. And if you add metal or electronic elements, or, oftentimes you can add too many things and the vocal loses focus. So mixing genres, especially while maintaining a certain genre, which in terms of the umbrella genre, we're actually pop. I mean, that sounds like it doesn't fit, but when you consider pop, adult contemporary is a subgenre of pop. That's where it fits more. And then we go into what I call cinematic pop, and then into, with the Broadway twist. And next question, what is a typical day in the life? Now it's a little boring, but during music production, it's basically an unscheduled mess of sessions and writing, and just like you do whatever comes to your mind. Oftentimes you'll be watching TV, you'll have something pop up in your brain, and you go write it down, notation wise, so you don't forget it, because you will, no matter how catchy it is or how you think, you'll just keep remembering that. You generally forget it, and there are things in songs that I've written that were like that, where I just ran to keep that thought in my head. In fact, some composers walk around with a recorder, just sing it right in there. This is a staff pad right here, and I can write ideas in here, and I can write entire orchestrations in here. And I believe the next question will explain this a little more. Next question, what is your creative process like? For example, when you began working on this project with Bonnie? Well, that happened in 2006, and this just on and off, on and off, on and off. I would always get projects, you know, paid projects that would have to, the album would have to take a back seat while I'm doing those projects. So that's why it took so long. And basically, the process starts with what I mentioned before, staff pad. It allows me to basically draw in notes, and then I can move those notes around. I can change the value. I can see the notes, which is really important if you know a small bit, like if you know basic notation and you know a bit of music theory. This is really powerful rather than sitting in front of your computer and trying to figure out what the keys on your keyboard really mean. This lets you see it in the way they stack, the way they voice, you know, the notes in the bass, and obviously it plays it back too. So it's a really powerful tool, and that's what I start with. And when I'm done with this entirely, it moves on to computer. And at that point, I'll just basically do what I do and make things sound more realistic. And from that point on, you know, you hear the end result in the end. Speaking of which, in regards to that really short description of what I do, I am going to be coming out with tutorial videos and how-to videos, and we're going to be documenting our progress a lot more. I may even stream on Twitch my actual music writing session, so you'll be able to see that stuff uncut, unedited, which could be a bad thing or a good thing, I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, it's definitely something I want to do on my YouTube channel, or more the Immortal Aria YouTube channel, and we'll be coming out with more video content. And you know, in the future, I'm probably going to be coming out with videos where when I buy a new library, I'll just write something really short so people can hear the difference. And I'm hoping that people get, you know, some education, or just some, you know, wondering how you do it. Even if you're not a musician, it might be interesting. So I'm going to be doing that. All right, well, that's it for this blog. By the way, we do have an album. It's called The Angel Song, a album based off of Gaston Leroux's Phantom of the Opera, all original work. You can go down in the description and check out ways to buy it or listen to it. And I hope to see you next time. See you later.